back to this week's episode of AMA Friday with Amy Miller, Recruiting in Yoga Pants. So this is an interesting one this week because we are probably not going to talk about anything that's remotely helpful for you. I try to make these videos like super tactical and like what to put on your resume, how to answer a question. Like I try to make it like super relatable and stuff you can use. This week is not that. This week is probably just me commiserating maybe with you a little bit. This has just been on my mind a lot and I don't know why, but I can't shake it. So I'm just going to talk about it. So here we go. Imposter syndrome. Show of hands, who has felt imposter syndrome at some point in their career? Anybody? Yeah, definitely. Who has felt imposter syndrome every damn day of their professional life? That would be me. I mean, y'all, the struggle is real, okay? I just want to share with you my thoughts on it. Hopefully, maybe we'll come up with a coping mechanism or two. I don't know where this is going to go. I just hit record and wait and see what I say, just like everybody else. So here we go. The thing with imposter syndrome, I'm sure y'all know the definition, right? It's basically the idea that, at least as it relates to work, that you are not good enough, smart enough, talented enough, to have the job you have or do the work that you're doing, and you live in this constant fear. Maybe it's not constant. Maybe I'm the only one that has it constantly. That you're gonna be found out. Oh shit, she's a fraud. She's not nearly as good of a recruiter as she thinks she is. That is my nightmare, okay? And I first saw this or felt this, I guess. Well, probably kindergarten, if I'm being honest, but we don't want to go back that far. We don't got that kind of time. I think I recognized it as imposter syndrome back in the 90s. I started my recruiting career, as many of us do, in agency. I worked for a small boutique firm in South Seattle. I worked my way up in the first couple of years to where I was actually managing a branch, moved down to California to run that branch outside of our corporate office. And I was the only female branch manager for a while there. And I was reminded of that a lot. I was told women were too emotional for this job. I launched a new office in the Midwest because I wanted to move back to the Midwest because my family was there and I was alone on the West Coast, didn't like it. And was passed over for that job, even though I launched the office with 0 issues day one. First time in company history, by the way. I was told I couldn't be that far from corporate. So I flew back to California and I quit. But not without this horrible sinking feeling that maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe they were right. Maybe I don't have the skills to do this. Maybe this job isn't for me. Maybe I should go be a secretary. I actually was the secretary for a hot minute after that job because I felt really freaking beat up. Then I got back into recruiting because, can't quit. It didn't last long. Here's the thing though. Fast forward a few years, several years, I'm now at Google. I have arrived, right? Like now I'm at the pinnacle of everyone's career hopes and dreams. If you're in tech, I guess. In that orientation, which was very well done, by the way, we talked about imposter syndrome. The Google orientation, huge props to them at NEO, at New Employee Orientation, I think that's what they call it. They actually do a segment on imposter syndrome because a lot of people go into their new job at, oh my God, it's Google, with this feeling of, holy shit, how did I sneak in here? I don't belong here. And so they cover it, which I thought was amazing. Like it was actually one of my favorite parts of orientation because it resonated with me so deeply. And I appreciated it. Fast forward a few months, I'm in a recruiter meeting. It was a diversity meeting. We're talking about diversity recruiting. And the young woman running the meeting, bless her heart, decided a great way to showcase diversity was to go around the room and ask everyone what their college major was. And in hindsight, looking back, what do they wish they had majored in instead? So we went around the room. There were people, in offices together and then on video, and, a lot of us for like 5 or 6 different offices dialed into this call. And as they went around, I was sliding down in my chair. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Imposter syndrome was rearing its ugly head because I was the only person in the room that didn't have a degree. Every other recruiter there majored in communications, business, or marketing. I think there was one like diverse outlier that had like an art history degree or something. But for the most part, there were some commonalities across the group, except me. Most people wished they could go back and get a degree in what you would expect: computer science, math, physics. We were all tech recruiters. That's where the money is, right? We know we're making these offers all the time. When they got to me, I just said I wished I'd known college was an option. That wasn't something that kids like me got to do. I shared that in a blog post. I'll actually put a link in the comments if y'all are interested. I wrote a pretty personal diary entry, if you will, about my experience and kind of growing up in the Midwest and being poor and all that kind of stuff. Point of that, though, I digress, is that imposter syndrome creeped back up. I was the outlier. I was the weird one. I was the kid that didn't belong, which is something that I've found myself dealing with a lot over the years. You think you graduate high school and this shit all goes away? Absolutely not. It follows you into adulthood unless, maybe you get some really good therapy. I don't know. But anyway, so imposter syndrome creeps back up. Fast forward again to another, I believe this was kind of an icebreaker. I don't even remember the context of this meeting, but we're in this meeting and going around the room and this icebreaker was, what's your favorite show from when you were a little kid? Your favorite cartoon or favorite kid show or whatever from when you were growing up. Everyone in that room was sharing, Boy Meets World or Ed, Ed and Eddie and these cute kid shows that my kids watched. So here I am. Well, as a child of the 70s, I was a big fan of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. But my kids love Boy Meets World. I mean, I'm too old for this. I don't belong. I'm not one of them. Imposter syndrome. Rearing its ugly head again. It's nobody's fault, y'all. I'm not mad. But that's where I was mentally and emotionally. I felt so out of place, like I was going to get caught, that I didn't belong here. I didn't have a degree. I was too old. I didn't have the same experiences, upbringings, opportunities. How could I be good enough for this job? That is a constant battle that I have to fight all the way up until the end when I decided to leave Google. And, it wasn't about the stories I've shared. There's, as always, so much more to the story. But when I did leave, I left because I had a better opportunity. I found a role, the role I have now, as of this recording anyway, that I believe is truly meant for me. And I am the happiest I've ever been. But I remember the situations and the conversations and the things that led up to me exploring that opportunity and resigning Google and telling my boss, I know I'm a good recruiter. I know I'm a great recruiter. I don't know if I'm a good Google recruiter. Imposter syndrome, rearing its ugly head again. It's hard. It's not only is it hard, it's some days so draining that you don't even want to get out of bed. I don't have a magic bullet for y'all. There's no template I can send you. There's no coaching session I could offer you that's going to make this better. But what I can tell you is that you're not alone. We all, no matter what our resumes look like, no matter where we come from, no matter the privilege, no matter the pain, we all struggle. We all have goals and expectations, whether they're put on ourselves, whether it's something from society or our families or our employers or whatever. There are expectations that we feel like we can't reach because we're not smart enough, we're not talented enough, we're not educated enough, we're not in the right place at the right time, we're not in the right age group, we're not whatever it might be. Don't let that voice overrule what I know to be true about you, which is that you're pretty freaking great. Because if you're watching this video and you're following me, that's a very good decision. All kidding aside, y'all, like I said, I have no magic bullets here. I have nothing helpful to offer other than believe in yourself. Just turn that negative self-talk into, look what I did accomplish. Pull out that master resume I told you to write several weeks ago. Pull that out, look at your accomplishments. Look at the cool things that you did. The feature that wouldn't have been built without you. The hire that wouldn't have been made without you. The budget balancing that wouldn't have happened without you. Those beautiful kids that wouldn't have been raised without you. You have a lot to be proud of, my friends. So do I. Let's focus on that and not on the naysayers. We'll see you next week.